Bismillah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashraf al-anbiya wal mursaleen. Nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in, amma ba'du. Tonight we're going to read from Sifatu Ibad al-Rahman, a small book called The Characteristics of the Worshippers of Allah. The Characteristics of the Worshippers of Allah by Abdul Razzaq ibn Abdul Muhsin al-Badr. Hafidhullah, Shaykh Abdul Razzaq al-Badr. And inshallah we'll be able to finish it through Ramadan, because the way it's laid out, if we do two sittings a week, we'd be finished inshallah within 4 weeks, or by the end of Ramadan. So he starts off, Hafidhullah, Alhamdulillah, Wassalatu Wassalamu Rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man walahu, amma ba'du. And he's discussing now, after praising Allah and sending salam on the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the station or the makan or the status of being a worshipper in Islam. That is a high maqam, it's a high station, al-ubudiyya lillah. Worshipping Allah is something that is praiseworthy Islamically. It's something that is praiseworthy Islamically, and it's something that Allah praises the people who worship Him or who take on certain characteristics. And he says here, there are many places throughout the Quran where Allah Jalla wa Ala, it says, وَأَضَافَ أَهْلِهَا لِنَفْسِهِ فِي آيَاتٍ عَدِيدَةٍ. أَضَافَ أَهْلَهَا لِنَفْسِهِ, where he described the people with certain characteristics, and he said that they were basically from, as it says, Ibad al-Rahman, the worshippers of the Most Merciful. The Most Merciful Ar-Rahman is from the names of Allah Jalla wa Ala. So to be considered from the worshippers of Allah, of the Most Merciful, this in itself is an honor. That is an honor in itself, that Allah considers those people to be from His worshippers. It's called tashrifan. Tashrif. It's honorable to be considered from the worshippers of Allah. Everybody doesn't carry these characteristics that I mentioned. So the people who carry these characteristics that I mentioned, these are honorable people to Allah Jalla wa Ala. So he described them as being Ibad al-Rahman. Ibad al-Rahman, worshippers of al-Rahman. So what he did, he says that these characteristics have been mentioned, as he says, في نصوص كثيرة ليجتهد المسلم في الاتصاف بها. There are characteristics mentioned in different texts, ayat, in the hadith, for the purpose of the Muslims striving hard to take on these characteristics, not just for the purpose of having information, in order to strive to be from the people who are described in these verses, in these ayat. He says, and not just to be as people describe you with that, but وَالْعَمَلُ بِمَقْتَضَاهَا, and to act on it also. To act on it also in order to gain that high station with Allah, and to gain that sharaf, that high level of honor, And there are many places where, as he said, many texts that mention these type of characteristics. But he says, min abraza al-mawadi', from the most, or from the areas that stick out in the text, are the ayat, the verses mentioned at the end of Surah Al-Furqan. At the end of Surah Al-Furqan, there are verses that mention, that start off, Allah started off, قال تعالى وَعِبَادُ الرَّحْمَنِ الَّذِينَ يَمْشُونَ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ هَوْنًا. He starts off, the worshippers of Allah are those who walk on the earth hawnan. And he described them as hawnan, showing that these characteristics دلالة على عظيم اختصاصهم بما دل عليه هذا الاسم من معاني الرحمة. That these characteristics are specific for these people, and they are people who are worshippers of the most merciful. And then after that ayah, he continues, Allah Jalla wa Ala continued, and he says, وَالَّذِينَ. And then he mentions another description. What else do they do? وَالَّذِينَ, وَالَّذِينَ, وَالَّذِينَ. They are those who do this, and they are those who do this, and they are those who do this. And he mentioned, as it says, he mentioned 8. He mentioned 8 descriptions of them. And then at the end of mentioning those descriptions, ختم الله هذا السياق الكريم بذكر ما أعده لهم من ثواب عظيم. After he mentioned those 8 characteristics, he mentioned at the end the reward for the people who carry these characteristics. So we want to read through these characteristics and hopefully try to implement them in our lives and be from the Ibad al-Rahman. Because we don't just want to read just for the sake of reading. But we'll see some of these things go against the cultural norm to us. Some of them go against what we used to. Some of them go against what we would do right now if something happened. But again, when the culture, when what we're used to goes against the revelation, when what we're used to go against the Quran and the Sunnah of the Messenger ﷺ, then we have to put the culture to the side and we follow the revelation. We try to follow the revelation that takes precedence over what we're used to or what we were brought up on or what we know where I'm from. That doesn't take a front seat to the Quran or the Sunnah of the Messenger ﷺ. So he says, firstly, as-sifatul ula, the first description that Allah mentioned in these ayat, it says, as-sakina wal-waqar wal-tawadu' lillahi wa li'ibadihi. A calmness and a humility, being humble before Allah and being humble before the creation. قال تعالى, قال الله عز وجل, وعباد الرحمن الذين يمشون على الأرض هونا وإذا خاطبهم الجاهلون قالوا سلاما. He said, the worshippers of Allah, Ibad al-Rahman, they are those who walk on the earth hawnan. And that could be translated as when they walk with a calmness. They walk with humility. You can see it in them, right? Which, more than likely, for those of us who have some type of noticeable strut, right? Or noticeable bop, or whatever you want to describe it, right? That walk that we do and that we're used to may go against the sifa, the description that Allah gives us in the Quran, right? That they walk with some type of humility. They don't walk with an arrogant type of walk. And a lot of us, we've been brought, the society, it breeds us. Sometimes we feel like, I gotta walk like that. Because if you don't, in certain areas, they might think it's something else. Right? Now you gotta make sure that you let them know that it's not what they thought it was. Allah problems. Point being is that may go against what Allah taught us in the Quran. There are those who, when they walk with some type of calmness and humility. And this is another thing, وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ. And if somebody comes talking to them, as we say, talking crazy, that they respond salama. And he's going to explain how we should be responding. And it's not what we usually think of to fight, as we say, fight fire with fire. That's not what Allah taught us in the Quran. So he says the first thing, قَالَ حَفِظَهُ اللَّهُ, from the descriptions and the beautiful characteristics is their humility, تَوَاضُعُهُمْ لِلَّهِ. Their humility before Allah and their humility and their humbleness with the creation, with other people. And this is in the Quran, revealed over 1,000 years ago. The new joint now is, everybody's talking is humble, whatever they're saying, be humble or whatever. This is internet talk that comes and goes, right? It's trendy now to say be humble. Right now it's trendy. That's what's the thing to say now. But Islamically, the Quran and the Sunnah already taught us that 1,000 years ago. So we can't be people who, when it becomes trendy to be these things, we want to be them because that's the trend for the people. No, the Quran and the Sunnah already taught us to be like this. min zaman, 1,000 years ago. The Prophet ﷺ came, he taught us these things. Not with the coming of the new trend, with whoever thought it was something decent to say from more than likely an entertainer came and said it, and everybody jumped on board and said that's the thing to be now. All right? Be humble, because Fulan said be humble. That's what he says. Allah told us in the Quran, and the Prophet ﷺ already taught us that. We don't need Fulan, whoever he is, from whatever he does or she does, to tell us that. So he says, this is the first description, that they walk with some type of calmness. He says, and Shaykh Abdul Razak Hafidullah says, وَهَذَا التَّوَاضُ الَّذِي ظَهَرَ عَلَى مَشْيِهِمْ وَهَيَئَتِهِمْ إِنَّمَا هُوَ ثَمَرَةٌ مِنْ ثِمَارِ الْإِيمَانِ. He said, this humility and humbleness is actually a result from a person's iman, their belief in Allah Jalla wa Ala. That a person carries themselves and they're not arrogant in the way that they walk. Because we all know that we have no strength except by Allah. Everything that we have, from our strength, our health, right, our wealth, whatever we have is only from Allah. So we know that we're constantly in need. So we have no need to walk around thinking we're better than somebody else. That doesn't mean that we can't be confident people. It doesn't mean we can't be confident. We're talking about being arrogant and looking at people funny and disrespecting people because they don't have what we have. Even if it's not material. They don't have Islam and we have it. So we look at them in disgust, right? And who's going to accept dawah from a person who's talking to them like as if they're disgusted with them? Nobody. He says, so in reality, the way that they carry themselves, their aura, their whole aura is based on and is a direct result of their iman, their belief in Allah Jalla wa Ala. قال ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما في قوله تعالى. Ibn Abbas, he said about this ayat, he said, those who walk with some type of humility, he says, بالطاعة والعفاف والتواضع. They walk and you can see it, as they used to describe Imam Ahmed rahimahullah. Imam Ahmed bin Hanbal rahimahullah, he used to be described, they said, when you saw him, when the people saw him, you could see on him, not the clothing, you could see the effect that worship had on his behavior, the way he carried himself. When you look at him, you could tell he was a worshiper. Imam Ahmed rahimahullah. So he said, this humility, he says, is with obedience to Allah and with humility. He says, and also from the clear things that show their humility and their calmness is that أنهم إن واجهوا في طريقهم بعض أهل السفة. If, and we all go through this, if you run into a person, as they describe them, from Ahl al-Safa, which is literally translated foolish, right? But foolish to us can mean a lot of things. We got a lot of names for people who we consider to be foolish. That's like what? Give me an example so we all on the same page. Goofy. Huh? I just want to make sure we're on the same page so we know who we're talking about. So we're not just talking words. Say he goofy. Shout out. He's a nut. He out of pocket. Right? Throw it on. When you run into these people, they call them Ahla in Arabic. It's called Ahl al-Safa. Right? There's a name for them. It's a group of people. It's not restricted, but they carry certain characteristics. When you run into these people, well, jahal, and they're ignorant, meaning what? What does ignorant mean to us? Huh?
Lack of knowledge.
Lack of knowledge. But if we say such and such is ignorant, they foolish. They don't know how to act. Bad behavior, vulgar, right? They don't have good adab. They don't carry themselves with a good type of moral character. So if you meet these people, Allah said, فَإِنَّهُمْ يُخَاطِبُهُمْ بِكَلَامٍ سَدِيدٍ سَالِمٍ مِنَ السَّفَى وَالْجَهْلِ. That we don't fight, as we say, fire with fire. Because they're ignorant, or you want to act like, well, I'm going to show you how to really act like that. Not the Muslim. Now, what we come up on, that's one thing, right? Where we from, oh, you want to get stupid, well, we can get stupid.
Right.
If you want to get stupid, we can get stupid. If you want to do this, we can do this. We talking about Islamically. Islamically, we haven't been taught that. And when something that we've been taught goes against the revelation, we got to put what we've been taught to the side and follow the revelation. We can't follow what we've been taught, if it contradicts what Allah and His Messenger taught us, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he says, when they come and they say something foul to them or something that is, as we say, out of pocket, he says they respond with something that is more appropriate than what they said. It don't necessarily mean because somebody is ignorant that we have to be ignorant in response. And a lot of people, non-Muslims, they notice that, and this could be something that pulls people closer to Islam, that they know they're out of pocket. They know that they don't have any restrictions on them. They don't have any limitations. But for you to respond like that, if that was me, they'll tell you, if I was in your shoes, I don't know how you did it, right? It's something for them to look, well, why? What's making you respond like that? It's a form of da'wah. He said, this is the meaning of Allah's statement, وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. If they say something to you and they're out of pocket and they're talking crazy, as we say, that a person responds, قَالُوا, Allah said, قَالُوا سَلَامًا. قَوْلًا يَسْلَمُونَ بِهِ مِنَ الْإِثْمِ. That a person responds with something that is more appropriate, and they respond with something that is not going to gain them a sin. Right? We don't respond to ignorance with sin. So because they're ignorant, and they have no limits, and they live the way they live, that don't mean we come outside of our Islamic character. Right? We're supposed to be trying to stay worshippers of Allah with the characteristics that we've been taught in the Quran and in the Sunnah. And it's nothing wrong with following the Messenger, alayhi salatu wasalam. We don't lose any stripes for following the Quran and the Sunnah. We don't lose stripes for following the Quran and the Sunnah. Right? I mean, every time somebody says something, we got to jump out of character and act like, we the craziest one on the street. Right? Now, all that does is what? What's the first thing that the non-Muslim says when you do that? See? Yeah, see? You're supposed to be Muslim. That's what they say. You're supposed to be Muslim. They know. The non-Muslim knows that we're supposed to carry ourselves in the best way. They know. So as soon as you, sister, jump out of pocket with all that you got on, you covered from head to toe, as soon as you come out the parking lot, you start acting crazy, they attach everything you say and do to Islam. As soon as we come out with beards and thos or izars or kufis or henna, whatever we got that's showing that we're Muslims, somebody tapped the back of your car and he probably, he's dead wrong. As soon as we start acting crazy, all of that goes straight to Islam, not you. No, I said it's a Muslim, bro. It's a Muslim. Everybody. Islam. Some Muslim boy I was arguing with in the parking lot. Right? They be out of pocket. Muslims, they out of, right? Because what? We feel like based on what we've been raised on, if you act crazy, I have to show you that you're not crazier than I am. Right?
You're not crazy you thought you were.
You ain't crazy you thought, it's not what you thought it was, so now I have to show you. And when I have to show you, that means I have to disregard the Quran and the Sunnah. I gotta that's what it means, whether we say it or not. We're not gonna say it, but what it means is, what? I gotta put this to the side and I gotta deal with this now. And then I'll come back to this. And that's not what we've been taught in the Quran and the Sunnah of the Messenger, alayhi salatu wasalam. So in this ayah, as it says, قال ابن القيم رحمه الله, this ayah gathered between two major limbs, two of the limbs that fall into sins, the feet and the tongue. Feet and the tongue. Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah, he said, وَلَمَّا كَانَتْ الْعَثْرَةِ عَثْرَتَيْنِ عَثْرَةَ الرِّجْلِ وَعَثْرَةَ اللِّسَانِ جَاءَتْ إِحْدَاهُمَا قَرِينَةَ الْأُخْرَى. That the fact that these two things, the feet, lead you, a person could go walk to the haram, walk themselves straight to haram with their own legs, their own limbs. And the tongue, Allah mentioned them together in the same ayah, right? When they walk on the earth, they walk with humility, right? And when people speak to them and they talk crazy, they respond with the tongue, salama, with something better than what they said. Allah mentioned them together in the same ayah, as Ibn Qayyim said. He said, and this shows, فَوَصَفَهُمْ بِالْإِسْتِقَامَةِ. Allah shows us in this ayah that the description is that the limbs are upright to walk with some type of humility, right? Walk with some type of humility and respect and honor for yourself. And the tongue is upright by responding with something better, not responding with something the same, on the same level, but responding with something better and responding with something that will protect the person from falling into sin. Tayyib. He says, just as Allah said in another ayah, قال تعالى ولا يستوي الحسنة ولا سيئة. And the good deed is not like the evil deed. Then Allah said, فَبِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ. Respond with something that is better. This is all ayat. Respond with something that is better. So the Sheikh says, the people, and we know this, يَتَفَاوَتُونَ فِي أَخْلَاقِهِمْ وَتَعَامَلَاتِهِمْ تَفَاوُتًا عَظِيمًا. That everybody, when it comes to akhlaq, adab, adab, when it comes to adab, everybody is on different levels. Some people have better, they carry themselves in a more respectful way than other people, right? And therefore, men and women, they're treated as such. You're treated on the way that you carry yourself. So if you're loud and out of pocket, people won't treat you like a loud out of pocket should be, person should be, or usually is treated, how we treat them, right? As they say, you can feel it. As they say now, the new word is energy. I don't know who came up with that one. I mean, it is. That's the new word, the energy. You can feel the energy. We used to say, vibe, right? That's kind of old, I guess. The vibe. But you can feel it off people, right? So if a person, say, he's not really feeling them like that. I don't really, and people respond as such. If they're not really feeling you, then what? They don't really want to be around. Right? Yeah, I don't really, I'm gonna stay away from whether it's a female or male. If they feel that you don't have something positive, they could feel it, then people want to move away, right? People want to move away. He said, was wajib al-wajib wal-wajib al-muslim بحسن ديانته وجميل أخلاقه أن يتصف بما ذكره الله عن عباد الرحمن في الآية السابقة. What is obligatory for the Muslim that's trying to perfect their deen is to carry themselves and try to apply these characteristics that Allah mentioned in the ayah. If a person want to be deening, we're talking about deening in Ramadan and being better Muslims, then a better Muslim, that we all know ourselves because we all different. Everybody got shortcomings in different areas. Wherever we fall short, we got to try to be better in those areas. Not take it as, no, that's just who I, that's just how I'm. Like, Islamically, that's not acceptable. If we live by Quran and Sunnah, that's not acceptable. I'm going to just do this. This is what I'm doing. No, we do with the revelation. We follow the revelation, Quran and Sunnah. Quran and Sunnah says we're supposed to be like this, not like that. So if what we're used to goes against the revelation, we have to put what we're used to aside and follow the revelation. He says after that, it's almost time, and this is it. He says, in order to do that, he says, ينبغي قبل ذلك أن يستعين بالله في أموره كلها. That a person, what we should be doing is seeking Allah's aid when we're trying to do this. When we're trying to be better than what we were, when we're trying to be better, and we're trying to leave off what we were doing, and we should be seeking Allah's help. He says, وَأَنْ يَدْعُوَهُ أَنْ يَهْدِيَهُ لِأَحْسَنِ أَخْلَاقِ لِأَحْسَنِ الْأَخْلَاقِ. And that we should be making dua, just like we making dua for all the other stuff we making dua for. We asking Allah to give us stuff from the dunya. We should be making dua that Allah guides us to good character, good behavior, good morals. That I behave like a Muslim man is supposed to behave. That I behave like I look, right? I don't know if y'all know or not, but there's not many people walking around with black prayer marks on their faces, right? So that's a distinguishing look for a Muslim man, if we don't know. So when people see that, they expect a certain level of conduct. They expect us to behave at a certain level. Non-Muslims and Muslims alike. Sisters, when they see that, it's not too many people, well, it's becoming a style now to wear a scarf, but not the way hijab is supposed to be worn. Hijab is worn a certain way. The scarf that they're wearing is one thing. When they see hijab, that means that you're on another level. In the eyes of a non-Muslim, you're not like everybody else. You're supposed to be better. That's why when we jump out of pocket and we come off our square, they say, but you're supposed to be Muslim. Right? That's what they say. They say, but you're not supposed to be talking like that, akhi. They might call you akhi, they might call you good brother, right?
Good brother.
Good brother. You ain't supposed to be talking like that, right? They know. And if the non-Muslim knows, how is it that we don't know? Right? He says we should be asking Allah to guide us to good character and to protect us and steer us away from bad character. And we'll start with the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. كما ثبت عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه كان يقول في دعاء الاستفتاح. The Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام used to say in the dua when he opened up for the salah, and he would make the dua. Wait for the mu'adhin, y'all, because I don't know if that's the right time. If you're in the masjid, you should wait for the mu'adhin to call the adhan, everybody on one accord. The last word is the statement of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the dua, where he said, "Ihdi li ahsani akhlaq." Guide me to the best character, the best adab. La yahdi li ahsaniha illa ant. Nobody can guide to the best character except for you. Wasrif anni sayyi'aha, and protect me from that evil, bad character. La yasrifu sayyi'aha illa ant. None can steer me away from that bad adab, that bad character, except for you, O Allah. And we'll stop there, inshallah. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.